Saturday the 6th of May 1944. It is hard to believe it when Jan, Mr. Kugler and Mr. Clayman tell us about the prices of food in the outside world. Everything is so expensive, and people buy and sell on the black market. One person can sell you a little bit of wool, another some ration books, and another some cheese. Stealing and murder happen every day. Even the police and the night watchmen are doing it. Everyone wants food to put in their stomachs, and they can't earn enough money to eat. Monday, the 8th of May, 1944. Have I ever told you anything about my family? I don't think I have. So let me begin. Father was born in Frankfurt am Main, and his parents were very rich. Michael Frank, his father, owned a bank. When father was young, there were parties and dances every week, and they lived in an enormous house. But when his father died, most of the money was lost, and after the Great War and the problems in Germany, there was nothing left at all. Mother's family wasn't so rich, but they had quite a lot of money, and she also tells us stories of private dances and parties with 250 guests. We're not at all rich now, but I hope things will be good after the war. I'd like to spend a year in Paris and London to learn the languages and study art history. I've told you before, I want to see the world and do all kinds of exciting things, and a little money will be very useful. Friday, the 19th of May, 1944. I felt awful yesterday. I was sick and had a headache. I'm feeling better today. I'm very hungry, but I won't eat the beans that we're having for dinner. Everything is going fine between Peter and me. We kiss each other good night every evening, and he always asks for another kiss. He's so happy to know that somebody loves him. I'm not so close to him now as I was. My love hasn't grown colder, though. Peter's a lovely boy, but I've closed the door to the Anne deep inside. If he wants to find her again, he'll have to break down the door. Monday, the 22nd of May, 1944. We've heard something very sad and frightening. It seems that a lot of people are thinking differently about us Jews now. People are against us who were once totally on our side. Some Christians are saying that the Jews tell secrets to the Germans. They say that the Jews are telling the authorities about their helpers, and then those people are arrested. And then, of course, the punishments that they get are terrible. Yes, it's all true. But they should ask themselves this: if Christians were in our place, would they behave differently? Could anyone, Jew or Christian, stay silent when the Germans are trying to make them talk? Everyone knows that it's almost impossible. So why do they ask us, the Jews, to do something impossible? I have only one hope, that the Dutch will not be against us for long. They should remember again in their hearts what's right, because this isn't right at all. Thursday, the 25th of May, 1944. Something happens every day now. This morning they arrested Mr. Van Hooven, the man who brings the potatoes. He was helping 2 Jews who were hiding in his house. The world is turned upside down. The best people are in concentration camps and prisons, while the worst decide to put them there. It's terrible for Mr. Van Hooven and for those poor Jews. It's also very difficult for us. Bep can't possibly carry all those heavy potatoes, so we'll have to eat less of them. Mother says that we won't eat breakfast, Lunch will be bread and something simple, and dinner will be potatoes. If possible, we'll eat vegetables or lettuces once or twice a week. That's all there is. Monday, the 5th of June, 1944. There are new problems in the annex now. There's a quarrel between Dussel and the Franks. We can't agree how to share out the butter. Then the Van Daans don't agree that we should make a cake for Mr. Kugler's birthday when we can't have one ourselves. It's all very silly. Mood upstairs, bad. Mrs. Van Daan has a cold. The weather is awful. The Allies are bombing the Pas-de-Calais and the west coast of France. No one is buying American dollars now, and they aren't interested in gold either. We shall soon come to the bottom of our black money box. How will we have enough money to live next month? Tuesday, the 6th of June, 1944. This is D-Day, the BBC said on the radio at 12 o'clock. This is the day. The invasion has begun. The German news says that British soldiers have arrived on the coast of France and are fighting the Germans there. At 1 o'clock, the BBC said that 11,000 planes are flying in to help the invasion. They're carrying soldiers or on bombing raids. 4,000 boats are arriving on the coast between Cherbourg and Le Havre. British and American armies are already fighting there. We can't believe it. Is this really the beginning of the end of the war? We've talked about it so much, but it still seems too good to be true. Will they win the war this year, in 1944? We don't know yet. But where there's hope, there's life. It makes us brave and strong again. Now that the invasion has started, I feel that friends are coming. Maybe, Margot says, I can even go back to school in September or October. Friday, the 9th of June, 1944. Great news of the invasion! The Allies have taken Bayeux, a village on the coast of France. They're now fighting for the town of Caen. Tuesday, the 13th of June, 1944. I've had another birthday, so now I'm 15. I had quite a few presents. Among them were an art history book, some underwear, a handkerchief, a pot of jam, 2 small honey cakes, a book about plants from Mother and Father, sweets from Miep, and some lovely flowers from Peter. The invasion is still going well, although the weather is terrible. Heavy rain, strong winds and rough seas. Peter loves me more each day, but something is holding us back, and I don't know what it is. Sometimes I wonder if I wanted him too much. I think that perhaps it wasn't real. But then if I can't go up to his room for a day or two, I want him badly again. Peter is kind and good, but in some ways I'm not happy about him as a person. He doesn't think much of God, for example, and I don't like the way that he talks about food. And why doesn't he let me come close to him, really close to the person deep inside him? I haven't been outside for so long that everything in the natural world seems wonderful to me now. I remember a time when I didn't notice the blue sky, or the flowers, or hear the song of the birds. All that has changed. When I can, I try to watch the moon, or the dark, rainy sky through our windows. And when I look at the clouds, the moon and the stars, I really do feel calm and hopeful. It's the best medicine, and I am stronger afterwards. Unfortunately, I usually have to try and look through dusty curtains and very dirty windows. Tuesday, the 27th of June, 1944. The mood has changed, and everything outside is going very well. The Allies have won Cherbourg, Vitebsk, and Schloben. In the 3 weeks since D-Day, there have been rain and storms every day, but the British and the Americans have fought hard. How far do you think we'll be on the 27th of July? Saturday, the 15th of July, 1944. I know that I won Peter as a friend, not the other way round. I was the one who tried to make it work, and I made a picture of him in my mind as a quiet, sweet boy who badly needed a loving friend. I needed someone to talk to say what was in my heart. I wanted a friend, too, who would help me to find my way again. I succeeded. Slowly but surely, he came towards me. Finally, we became friends, but we became very close, too. I find it hard to believe now that we grew so close. We talked about very private things, but never about what was deep in my heart. And I still can't understand Peter. Is he really shy, or is there nothing deep in him at all? But I made one big mistake. I wanted him to be close to me, and now we can't be friends any other way. And he's holding on to me too tightly. I can't see how to change this now. Friday, the 21st of July, 1944. Now, at last, things are going well. Great news! Somebody tried to kill Hitler, and it was actually a German army official who tried to do it. This shows us that many of the German soldiers have had enough of the war too, and would like to end it. Tuesday, the 1st of August, 1944. I'm two people, really, as I've often told you. One side of me is cheerful and amusing, and enjoys a kiss or a rude joke. This is the Anne that people know, and they will be amused by me for an afternoon, but after that they've had enough of me for a month. No one knows the other side, the better side of Anne. It's deeper and finer, but the first Anne always shows herself, and won't let the second Anne out. I try, but it doesn't work. It's because I'm afraid that people will laugh at me. Of course people laugh at me now, I'm used to it, but they laugh at the amusing, light-hearted Anne. She doesn't care, but the deeper Anne is too weak for that. If I make the good Anne come out even for 15 minutes, she won't speak, and allows Anne number 1 to talk. Then, before I realize it, she's disappeared again. So the nice Anne never comes out in front of other people, but she's almost always there when I'm alone. I would like to change, and I'm trying hard, but it's difficult. If I'm quiet and serious, my family thinks I'm ill. But I keep trying to become what I would like to be, and what I could be if only there were no other people in the world.
Anne's diary ends here. Afterword. On the morning of the 4th of August, 1944, a car arrived at 263 Prinsengracht, the address of the secret annex. German and Dutch police arrested the 8 people who were hiding in the annex. Somebody must have told the authorities that they were hiding there. They also arrested 2 of their helpers, Mr. Kugler and Mr. Kleeman. Miep and Bep were not arrested. The police took all the money and anything valuable that they could find in the annex. Miep later found Anne's diary in the building and kept it safely until after the war. The police took Kugler and Kleeman to a prison in Amsterdam. On the 11th of September 1944, they were sent to a concentration camp in Amersfoort, also in Holland. Because Kleeman was ill, he was allowed to go free on the 18th of September. He lived in Amsterdam until he died in 1959. Kugler later escaped, and he went to live in Canada, where he died in 1989. Bep's real name was Elizabeth Voskuil Veek, and she died in Amsterdam in 1983. Miep Sandrushits-Gies is still living in Amsterdam, but her husband, Jan, died in 1993. The 8 people from the annex were first taken to a prison in Amsterdam. Then they were sent to Auschwitz, the concentration camp in Poland. It seems that Mr. Van Daan died by gas at Auschwitz, and his wife was taken to several more concentration camps. She died in a concentration camp, though nobody knows exactly how. On the 16th of January 1945, Peter Van Daan had to go on the terrible prisoner's walk from Auschwitz to Mauthausen in Austria, where he died on the 5th of May 1945. He died only 3 days before the Allies got to the camp. Albert Dussel died on the 20th of December 1944 in the Neuengamme concentration camp. Edith Frank, Anne's mother, died in the Auschwitz concentration camp on the 6th of January 1945, too tired and too hungry to live any longer. Margot and Anne Frank were taken from Auschwitz to the Bergen-Belsen concentration camp near Hanover in Germany. A terrible illness attacked the prisoners there. They both died in the winter of 1944 to 45. Anne must have died in late February or early March. All the bodies of the prisoners were thrown together. The British Army arrived at the camp on the 12th of April 1945. Otto Frank was the only one of the 8 still alive. After Russian soldiers reached Auschwitz, he was finally taken back to Amsterdam. In 1953, he moved to Switzerland, married again, and lived there until his death in 1980. He spent the rest of his life trying to share the message of his daughter's diary with the rest of the world.